Nigel Benn and Chris Eubank Sr. have agreed that if their sons are to reschedule their cancelled fight, then it would have to be at 160. And I'm going to quote Nigel Benn here. He said, Chris kept saying, as in Chris Sr., my son can't do this, my son can't make the weight of 157. So I said I didn't choose the weight, your son chose it. So we kept going back and forth, and Chris kept saying he isn't going to make weight, he will not be strong, and I'm going to stop this. We kept on going on, and then I saw a picture of Chris Eubank Jr. His body is emaciated. I sent Chris Sr. a text saying, sorry, I didn't realize. Please forgive me, Chris. I said to Conor, if you do fight him, he's not fighting at 157 pounds. I want you to fight him at 160 pounds. Personally, I believe that if the fight would have happened, Conor would have hurt him just like what happened with Gerald McClellan. I don't want nothing on my son's head saying he is on drugs, not until I clear my son's name. I do not want my son going through the same thing I went through with McClellan. So those are the words of Nigel Benn. Now, there are many people who think this fight will never go ahead now, based on what has happened with regards to Conor Benn. And that situation is ongoing. I've made several videos about it. But personally, I wouldn't really care. And I said that going into the cancelled fight. I said, if this fight doesn't go ahead, it really doesn't bother me at all, because I always felt like it was a weird contest to begin with. Here we have Conor Benn, a welterweight who's looking to get into title contention. And there's Eubank Jr., a middleweight, who's also looking to get in title contention in his division. Why would these two guys fight each other? It seemed that it was just like a cynical thing because of the names and the rivalry of their father. There was no logical reason to make the fight otherwise. It's not as if Conor Benn was a long reigning welterweight champion and he'd run out of contenders in his own division. And then there was this other champion at middleweight, Eubank Jr., who also didn't have too many contenders, because that's these circumstances, or at least similar circumstances, a similar scenario to what happened with Marvin Hagler and Sugar Ray Leonard. Both guys were superstars. Ray Leonard had been beating everybody. Of course, he had his time out of the ring and whatever. Marvin Hagler was undisputed at middleweight. Everybody wanted to see this fight, even though Leonard would be jumping up a couple divisions. It was a rivalry that had been brewing for a long time, okay, because, again, two elite fighters. Not the case with Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn. I was really interested to see Conor Benn continue down the path of establishing himself as a welterweight contender. If it happened, I'd watch it out of curiosity, but I really don't care about it being cancelled at all. I'd rather see them. What's far more interesting to me is Conor Benn, if he can clear his name, because we have to find out what's going to happen there. If he can clear his name, going on to try and establish himself as a legitimate contender at welterweight, that's more interesting to me. And Eubank Jr., well, we'll see if he can get in there with one of the champions at 160. So that's my thoughts on the situation. And if the fight were to happen at 160 between Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn, would it make it safer? Well, that's debatable, right? It would make it safer for Eubank Jr., and particularly if there's no rehydration clause, right? It'd make it safer for Eubank Jr., but it would make it more dangerous for Conor Benn. So what have you really solved? And again, it's debatable who would be in more danger, a dehydrated Eubank Jr. or Conor Benn going in with a fully hydrated Eubank Jr. Would Conor Benn be in greater danger? You guys let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you're tired of the biased narratives and mass censorship on mainstream platforms, and you want to be part of a community of critical thinkers who love free speech just as much as you do, then come and join me on Patreon and access my weekly no-holds-barred, censorship-free podcast where we lift the lid on a wide variety of controversial topics. It's not mainstream friendly, it's not politically correct, but that's the whole point. We dare to stand as a beacon of reason against an army of insanity. Just head on over to my Patreon page and select the tier called Hatman Hot Topics. You'll gain access to a minimum of 2 hours of exclusive content every single week, including podcasts, videos, interviews, live stream Q&As, as well as my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. Not to mention a vast back catalog of hundreds of hours of previous episodes. You can listen via the Patreon app with the option to download in high quality MP3. We've also got an Element group where you can come and chat and hang out with myself and other members. Unlike Discord, it has full end-to-end encryption, it's decentralized, and it's 100% censorship free. You can also send voice notes as well as much larger audio and video files than you can on Discord. So come and sign up on Patreon. There's no contract, there's no commitment, you can cancel at any time, and it's cheaper than a cup of coffee. So I'll see you over there. I'm out.